Well, me personally, I was born right here in Ghana. Went to a Belmont kindergarten school in Abelegbe. Lived in Abelegbe for most of my life, and then I moved on to Rich Church School, RCS. Did my education there from primary school to JSS 3. Then from there I moved on to South Africa. I went to an all boys boarding school called Michael House. That's where I did my matriculation. After that, went to the UK, did my O&A levels in Cambridge, went to Leicester University after that. I did a BA in economics, graduated in like 2006, and then I came back to Ghana from there. That's a brief background of what my education life is about. When I got back to Ghana, I started working, I actually started a small club or bar called Twist. And after a while, like 2 or 3 years, my brother came down, Eric from the States, and he took over Twist, and I moved on to other things. So I was doing advertising. I was also working at the bank for a while as a corporate banker. And then, but I was always fascinated about advertising, fascinated about how you can change someone's psyche and how you can help someone, or how you can help a brand grow, how you can make people see things in a different way. That was what I was really interested in. So I actually started a small advertising company with a friend of mine called Talal, called iCreate, and we did that for a while. And then funny enough, I crossed paths with who would be my business partner right now, Miguel, and he was working with MMRS Ogilvy at the time. And I talked to him, I told him about my plan to have our own advertising agency, and he gave me some good advice, saying I should start off there, and get the experience that I need to work at that kind of level, and then if I wanted to move on. And that's how my life in advertising really started. Well, I wouldn't say we came up with the idea. I think what happened was my business partner Miguel, myself, and this other guy that we were working with. We used to handle clients like Vodafone, Woodin, and other Coca-Cola and other clients like that in the company that we were working at, and it got to a point where we started realizing that social media, at least, was becoming very important in whatever campaigns that we were running. And so seeing as the three of us were more digitally inclined than anyone else, it seemed like the pile of work was coming towards our end because we knew a bit more about that than anyone else. So my idea was always to leave and start my own advertising agency. I wouldn't say I always wanted to do digital, but it kind of fit the fact that we just saw a gap in the market because we realized that it was something that we knew about, that most people were now getting to know about. And so we just basically put our heads down and learn as much as we can about online advertising and moving away just from social media and diving deeper into other things that can really make a difference in the company's brand. Well, the first thing was handing in resignation forms. It's a very scary thing. You can't just. I mean, someone will tell you don't leave your job unless you have another job already lined up. For example, you've got a job that pays you fairly well. You're stable. You might be deceived into thinking, just keep your head down and work as hard as you can, and you're gonna eventually go up the ladder and stuff like that. But it doesn't always work that way. Plus, there are only so many positions available. You have a company full of 50, 60 people, and there's only so much room for growth in there for each person. So we just decided to just take a leap of faith, basically. I mean, we had one or two small clients that we knew that if we left, we'll be able to get, and so we just used that as a platform. Plus, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, it wasn't as if leaving the job that I was at was going to cripple me for life. I had some success in the past. I had a little bit of money. I'm fortunate enough that I wasn't born into poverty, abstract poverty. You know what I'm saying? And I guess it was a choice that a person like myself could have because of the situation I was in. Maybe some people would want to leave but wouldn't be able to because their bread and butter is right in front of them, and that's how they make their money. But for me, working in advertising was for me to get the experience I needed to start my own thing, and so that's the platform that I used. So yeah, how we started is I just handed in my resignation form and said, my mom 1 month notice or whatever it was. My two other business partners handed in theirs as well, and then we started small. We started in the office of my brother's wife. She was, gracious enough to let us stay there for as long as we needed, really. And all we had to do was just pay little things like utilities and little things just to help them keep the place running. But that's how we started. What was it like? It was, funny enough, it wasn't frightening for me, personally. It was exciting, rather. We felt like we were free. We felt like we were doing our own thing. Like new guys on the block, and we took it as a challenge. And some of us like that. Some of us like the unknown and what the future would look like. That gray area is some of us thrive in that gray area, So it was exciting for me when we first started, and we were just speaking to people we knew personally. It wasn't like we were going out looking for clients that we didn't know. Like most businesses, you start with people that you know. You tell them this is what you do. If you can help. Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll do it for free. Don't worry. If you like it, you can pay us later. Whatever you can to get in the mix, you do. And so we spoke to a couple of people, and that's how we started. Answering the question on what I would have done differently, I'd say to have a better business plan, maybe. We just jumped in, and most of us, luckily we stayed afloat. But I think it's good that we're all entrepreneurs at heart, and we all want to take risks and stuff like that. But a calculated risk is worth much more than a risk just in the dark. So I think we could have planned a bit more in terms of how we wanted to approach clients or how our business model would be. I think if we had done that, we would have had even more success than we started. I think Ghana is so small that your work speaks for itself. Now, if I say word of mouth, yes, it sounds like every other business out there, but it's true, because even if you open a local bar, a local spot on the roadside, when people come and they like the place, all of a sudden people know about it, and all of a sudden people start coming. It's the word of mouth spreads so rapidly that it can make or break you. Because, for example, if you open up and you're not as good as you say you are, and someone comes there, all of a sudden the word of mouth spreads equally as fast. And then they're like, oh no, don't go there, forget about it. So luckily for us, the group that we had, me and my business partners, we had experience already in the field, and what we said we were delivering, we delivered. I would say the fact that our work was good from the get-go, from the start, was a very big plus for us, because then the word of mouth that we were getting was all positive feedback. Plus, combined with the fact that it was an area that people were new to, it gave us a little bit of leverage over other companies that may have tried to explore that area but didn't exactly know what they were doing. Cash flow, as most businesses will tell you, is cash flow. Um, the reason why it's a problem is, as a business that's growing, you want to be able to scale up effectively. So you can't do that without cash flow. But on the other hand, you want to have a certain amount of money always running, so that you can run your business day to day. You can make sure that staff is paid, what bills are paid in time, and all that stuff. But then you also have to have money on the other hand to expand your business, and keeping that balance is very difficult. We learned quickly that we needed some help in terms of financial advice. So we started looking around, and we got some help. But definitely, I'd say cash flow is always a problem. Um, Work-life balance. I think your work becomes your life. I don't. I don't. It's funny. It's funny because I remember back in my older office, one of where I used to work, one of my friends was supposed to do some work over the weekend or something, and he rocked up on Monday saying, I'm sorry I didn't do it, but my weekends are my own. So I remember that very, 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 very well. And it's funny because your weekends aren't your own when you have your own business. It's you wake up with it, you sleep with it. Work-life balance. Your work is your life. That's it. There's no like you said, always on. You have to be online all the time. You have to know what's going on. Clients can call you from. I mean, even now as we speak, we have clients in Malaysia, and they can call you anytime. You have to be awake. My business partner answers emails at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Skype calls at 5 a.m. There's no time to sleep, and even if you're sleeping, someone needs to be up. So a digital company is not an easy company to run, but I guess the best way is for it to be part of your life. That's the best way to run it. Mentors. I mean, normally people take on mentors, like proper mentors, people they don't really know that have the experience that they want, and they kind of shadow them. I haven't done that, but I take inspiration from people who are close to me. My good friends that are doing well, my brothers, Eric Bilal, my sister. These are people that I look up to, that I see doing well, and I take inspiration from, and they help me in terms of guidance, telling me what to do, what not to do, and, offering their 2 cents. I think that's where I get my inspiration from, the people that are closest to me. What was the second question?
Yeah, best advice you've ever received.
Best advice I ever got was from my uncle Archie in England. He said, "It's not how hard you work, it's how long you work hard for." So, yeah, he said that, and it just clicked in my head. It's never left. Staying motivated. I think as an entrepreneur, you're motivated by the chance that you make it big. I guess you always see yourself at a certain level, and you have to keep pushing yourself to reach that level at all times. I think the motivation comes from within. I don't think it comes from what goes on outside. I think personally, you have to be personally motivated. I mean, I do silly things like watch YouTube videos of like motivational speeches and stuff like that. But, it sounds weird, but it helps me personally. A lot of people have their own way of motivating themselves. Some people have kids; their kids motivate them. So I think motivation for me is personal. It has to come from yourself. If you're not self-motivated, I don't think you can project motivation to anyone else. It has to come from you yourself. The second question was
Cost saving tips.
cost saving tips.
Are those crazy
Cost saving tips. Well, I don't know. We moved to a new office because we wanted to save costs. Where we were before was a nice place, really posh. I'd say, for us, it was we were paying a decent amount for rent, and we did that because we wanted to be seen. We were in town, we were in the Osu area and stuff, and we've been there for a year, and we just left now to this place, which is a bit cheaper. Closer to home. We don't have to take too much money out for transport. We only move to town when there's like a meeting that we need to go to. The banks are around here. Basically, we moved our office to a location where it will basically save us money in terms of travel and other areas. And we did that to save money to build a new office that we want. So I guess if it's advice for cost saving, don't be afraid to go backwards to go forward. I guess that would be the advice, because this might seem like a step back, but we're actually saving money to do something even better in the future. So, maybe it's I don't know. I think since South Africa, I was economics was always my favorite subject. For example, I have no idea why, but it wasn't because of it wasn't more about money and how money works. It was more about people. It was more about psychology and how people work. So. If I say economics was my favorite subject, it's not what people may think. It's more about marketing and advertising and creating a brand, creating an image. It was always exciting to me. We used to have, Fridays and Saturdays where our economics teacher would show like a bunch of adverts and why they're so good, and how it affected people and how it affected sales and things like that. That really was exciting to me.
What economics did you take?
Go to South Africa. Go to Michael House. You learn it. But yeah, even then in South Africa they had we're dealing with a client now that deals in forex trading, and even then, when I was 14, 13 years old, they were teaching us about FX trading. That's how advanced that school was. But anyway, I guess I don't know. You can't pick what you like. I just like that. That was one thing that I really liked about the subject, and it's people have told me that I can sell anything. So I guess it kind of like fits, it kind of fits what I do. I think it's just a personal thing again. Advantages is obvious. Everyone knows the advantages of owning your own business.
Which are?
working for yourself, not having to answering to anyone, which is like major plus. Being in control. Most of the times you work for a bigger part of the machine, so you can only do your part and hope that everyone does their part so that you can make whatever you're making come true. But when you own your own business, you can make sure that at least you can make sure that the parts that are working are under your control, and so you can make sure that the machine is working as well as you want it to work, so to speak. I mean, that's an advantage of having a small business. Disadvantage of having a small business is the risk is very high. You know, you start your own small business. I mean, I don't know the percentage now, but I know it's well over 70% of small businesses that start fail within the first 2 years. So and then out of the 30% that's remaining, about 80% fail within the first 3 years. So you have to work hard. You have to believe in yourself. You have to make sure that what you're doing is something that you can see yourself doing forever. That way, at least, you know that you've given it your best. Don't just find a small gap in the market and then give it everything. If you find a small gap in the market that is not for you, you can invest in it, but you don't have to give your whole self into it and put all your eggs in that basket. You know? So I think if you're going to be an entrepreneur, do something that you love doing anyway and concentrate on that. Don't be an entrepreneur for the money per se at first. Be an entrepreneur for the love of what you do. That way, I think you'll be more successful.
Do you have anything to add?
We have some love.